Welcome back to the 2022 Tri-City International Film Festival, TRIFI 2022. And the smiling pretty lady beside me, I love my job. I really do. Megan Schowalter, who has a film that, did we just show it?
Yeah.
It's just showed, okay.
Just minutes ago.
And it was called?
We Made It.
So who made it? Did you make it?
Yeah, right here, Megan Schowalter.
Okay. We made it.
We made it. But as you know, there's many people who are a part of a film team. And so there's a little bit of reference to that in the title of just, it isn't really just the director. It's everyone who's a part of that project, whether it's sound or just footage or just being there and cheering you on. So that was really kind of that moment of like, oh yeah, we did this, we made this.
Nice.
Yeah.
Kind of like a who's on first moment, though, for
Yeah.
me. It's like, okay, she's messing with me now.
Right.
Talk about the film. What's the film about?
Yeah, so this film is my first film. It's a short documentary. It's meant to be a nature, environmental documentary, but it's actually about my own family, and it's sort of our own story. And that was really important to me because I feel like as a filmmaker, you spend a lot of time kind of assessing and studying and getting to know other people's stories or just stories that are out there. But realizing that maybe for this first one, it was almost like my own sort of coming of age story and being a filmmaker, but also in reflecting on what I was doing in my life and what was going on. And part of what influenced that too was also a pandemic environment. And for filmmakers, that was kind of a big deal and what became accessible and where we could go, and realizing that like I have access to the people in my life who are around me right now and what we're up to. So some of my previous like project ideas, you know, it decided to put on the back burner, and I think they'll come out later, but I realized like focusing on the present moment and what we were up to was going to be my like opportunity to move forward and really make a project happen.
That's nice. That's
Yeah.
nice. And, you know, you don't think about that, who you have access to. We shot a film in the midst of the pandemic,
Oh,
and
gosh,
that
yeah.
was just all
lot.
sorts of problems that go along with that.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, exactly. Your first film.
Yeah.
Talk about your experience as being a first-time filmmaker.
Yeah, so I think it was like everything I wanted it to be and more in some ways. And this medium being a documentary was intentional because I guess in reflecting and deciding to do my own story, I realized it would just be okay to show who I was. I've thought a lot about whether I wanted to start with more like fiction, like writing the screenplay. And for those who are also filmmakers out there, they're just totally different processes. So with documentary, you know, I was like, okay, just have to start shooting. So I kind of had like the videographer hat, like cameraman one, camerawoman two, like hat on first, and was just picking, you know, is it a drone shot? Is it like something I got on my phone? Was it an intentional interview setup? And then trying to just accrue content and start there. And then when it got to more of like the editing and kind of post mode, that was really exciting to come back through and find like, is there a story in this? And like, what's going on here? And being the first time through that, it felt a little messy and I felt a little lost in it because I didn't really have a process. I was trying to come up with one in that moment, which maybe you relate to too, but I just kind of had to keep going and kept trusting that like the pieces that I needed were there. And you know, I'd say one of the challenges is as a first-time filmmaker is a lot of times it's like you kind of have this plan and you really hope it's going to happen, and then like you don't get permissions or copyright for something and you're like, oh, or the time cost become these barriers. So you just constantly find like these walls or these limitations. And as a creative, that can feel so stifling. You're just like, like I had this thing and it was
really
going to
wanted to do
and
that
it needed to
thing.
look this way. Yeah. And being able to like let go of that was part of the challenge, but then also work with what was there and see the story that was there. And again, just kind of trusting in that. That was a lot for me as a first-time filmmaker, because again, I'd just never gone through it, but now kind of connecting with other filmmakers and experiences like this, you realize just like, one, how brave filmmakers are, but two, just how open they are and kind of going with the project. And so many talk about how the project maybe comes to them or they have these ideas and they just go with like following the idea is like almost what's more important at certain times. And that just started to become something I could really relate to and connect to, and was really exciting in my own film journey.
So do you feel like there's another film in Megan?
You know, I really would like to, I kind of have two ideas. I'd love to be able to continue telling the story of the forest and small forest landowners. That idea really did kind of amaze me in some ways, of just particularly in Washington, how many individuals acquire so much of our land and really make a difference, whether it's 1 acre or like hundreds of acres, almost more so than our public lands. And so I thought about just scaling it to like the Key Peninsula as a whole, and like, could I reach out to more landowners there? But one of the limitations I've experienced is just some people aren't really open to like sharing their stories in that way, or, you know, they do so with a friend. But I've wondered about trying to find a way to create more of a fiction story and starting as a screenplay, and using kind of the life experiences I've had as inspiration, but finding a way to kind of jump into a screenplay or something to be able to honor those stories, but maybe not like cross the line for people who are like, yeah, I'm still not comfortable with just the medium of like being on camera. So to me, those are kind of like two different ways to take the story, and I'm kind of just feeling out what's going to be next. But there's a big timber harvest coming up this spring, and I'm on top of it, okay? I've got my camera out whenever I can, and I'm trying to be an activist, but a stakeholder too, just like, hey, these are our forests, and we have a say in this.
So there's possibilities for the future.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I mean, yes. I'll just say yes.
All right. Film's called We Made It. We just featured it here. Where can people find it?
It's actually going to be on our website for our business, Mount Virginia. That's kind of what's showcased in the documentary. So if you want to watch it, you can just go to our business website. It's mountvirginia.com, and we will have it available for purchase, and you can just download and stream it there. We're doing so just to kind of continue to support the business and the forest restoration process, like in-house, and we'll do that for a little while until otherwise.
All right. Megan, thank you so much. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. We are going to be right back. It's the Tri-City International Film Festival 2022.